Got nowhere to go.
And you will die.
I came here to die with you.
Just get off the horse.
The year was 1976. America celebrated its bicentennial while still nursing the wounds of Vietnam and Watergate. The Western genre was fading, with audiences turning toward new thrills like Jaws and Rocky. Yet from this uncertain landscape emerged the Outlaw Josey Wales, a $3.7 million gamble that would go on to earn $31.8 million at the box office and cement itself as one of the most layered westerns in cinema history. Before we dive deeper, let's set the scene. Missouri, 1865. A simple farmer watches helplessly as Union redlegs murder his wife and child, burning his homestead to the ground. This singular act of violence transforms Josey Wales from peaceful farmer to ruthless outlaw. But this isn't just another revenge tale. What makes this film transcend its genre is how it examines what comes after vengeance, the difficult path toward healing, community, and ultimately, peace. While other westerns of the era were content with black and white morality, the outlaw Josey Wales dared to explore the complex aftermath of America's bloodiest conflict. It asks a question as relevant in 1976 as it is today. How do we rebuild after being broken by violence and loss? Through Wales's reluctant journey from lone avenger to protector of a makeshift family, Eastwood crafted not just a western, but a meditation on what it means to find purpose beyond revenge. As we examine this masterpiece, we'll uncover how its revolutionary approach to violence, memory, and reconciliation changed the western forever. We'll explore its troubled production, its remarkable performances, and how a film initially dismissed by many critics gradually revealed itself to be one of cinema's most thoughtful explorations of America's violent past and the possibilities of its future. So saddle up as we journey through the dusty trails and bloody history of the outlaw Josey Wales, a film that, like its protagonist, refused to die quietly. I reckon so. The stoic acceptance in this simple line perfectly embodies the power of the outlaw Josey Wales. The film's best scenes: Wales' methodical takedown of redleg pursuers on the ferry, the tense dying ain't much of a living boy standoff, the unexpectedly poignant peace negotiation with 10 bears, and the unspoken final encounter with Fletcher, all demonstrate how Eastwood elevated the western genre through masterful restraint. The outlaw Josey Wales represents a pivotal technical achievement in western filmmaking, largely due to Bruce Surtees's revolutionary cinematography. Known as the Prince of Darkness for his low-light expertise, Surtees abandoned the sun-drenched landscapes typical of westerns for a more naturalistic approach. His use of natural light and shadows created visual depth that reflected Wales's internal journey, bright, harsh lighting and violent sequences gradually giving way to warmer, softer tones as Wales finds his new family. The film's visual language is particularly evident in its approach to violence. Unlike many westerns where gunfights appeared almost balletic, Eastwood and Surtees presented violence with brutal efficiency. When Wales shoots, the consequences are immediate and visceral. The camera doesn't shy away from the aftermath, lingering just long enough to acknowledge the weight of each death without glorifying it. This approach is exemplified in the ferry ambush scene, where Wales's methodical elimination of his pursuers is shown with an almost documentary-like detachment. The film's soundscape proves equally innovative. Jerry Fielding's score is used sparingly, often giving way to environmental sounds, creaking wood, rushing water, whistling wind that ground the narrative in a tangible reality. This restraint allows moments of music to carry greater emotional impact. Particularly during Wales's flashbacks to his family's murder. The contrast between silence and sound becomes a narrative tool itself, signifying shifts between Wales's stoic exterior and emotional interior. Perhaps the most remarkable technical achievement lies in the film's production story. Originally directed by Philip Kaufman, the project faced a major crisis when Eastwood, dissatisfied with Kaufman's approach, took over directing duties. This controversial change could have derailed the entire project, yet Eastwood's clear vision actually streamlined the production. Working efficiently with a crew familiar from his previous films, Eastwood completed shooting in just 38 days, an impressive feat for a period piece with multiple locations and battle sequences. The film's editing, handled by Ferris Webster, contributes significantly to its distinct rhythm. Unlike the quick-cut style becoming popular in the 1970s, Webster employed longer takes and thoughtful pacing that allows scenes to breathe. This approach is particularly evident in the trading post sequence, where Wales' awkward integration into his newfound family unfolds with authentic hesitation rather than forced sentimentality. These technical elements coalesce in what became known as Eastwood's signature directorial style, economical storytelling that trusts audiences to follow emotional undercurrents without excessive exposition, by treating violence as consequential rather than celebratory and characters as complex rather than archetypal. The Outlaw Josey Wales effectively deconstructed Western conventions while honoring the genre's visual heritage. The Outlaw Josey Wales stands apart from conventional Westerns largely due to its exceptional performances and character development. At its center, Clint Eastwood delivers what many consider a pivotal performance in his evolution as an actor-director. Unlike his taciturn man-with-no-name persona, Eastwood's Wales reveals layers of emotional depth. His transformation from revenge-driven outlaw to reluctant protector unfolds with subtle authenticity. Each grudging act of compassion visibly costs him, yet gradually rebuilds his humanity. Chief Dan George's performance as Lone Waddy represents one of cinema's most dignified and three-dimensional portrayals of a Native American character from this era. His Academy Award nomination was well-deserved, as he balances wry humor with profound pathos. The campfire scene where he recounts meeting with the Great Father in Washington delivers a devastating commentary on broken promises and cultural displacement with understated power. His line, "We shall endeavor to persevere," became not just a memorable quote, but a thematic cornerstone of the film. Sandra Locke's Laura Lee initially appears to follow the Western tradition of the proper woman civilizing the frontier. However, her performance subverts this trope, revealing a character with her own trauma and resilience. The tentative romance between Wales and Laura evolves organically from mutual respect rather than conventional attraction. Their relationship began during filming, with Eastwood and Locke embarking on a controversial 14-year personal relationship that would span several future collaborations. John Vernon's Fletcher represents one of the Western genre's most nuanced antagonists. His pursuit of Wales stems not from malice, but from a complex sense of duty and honor. Vernon portrays Fletcher with weary determination rather than villainous glee. The film's final scene between Fletcher and Wales, "I think I'll go down to Mexico, get some work there," represents one of cinema's most perfectly understated conclusions.
I think I'll go down to Mexico to try to find it. He's got the first move. I owe him that. I think I'll try to tell him the war is over.
Conveying volumes of understanding through minimal dialogue. The film's most memorable scenes derive their power from these character dynamics. The riverboat encounter where Wales protects Grandma Sarah and Laura from Comancheros showcases both his deadly efficiency and emerging protective instinct. The dying ain't much of a living boy exchange with Jamie, Sam Bottoms deftly balances gallows humor with genuine wisdom. Perhaps most affecting is the gradual formation of a surrogate family at the ranch, where Wales's reluctance to connect is slowly worn down by persistent humanity. What elevates these performances beyond standard Western fare is how they collectively explore the film's central theme, reconstructing community after devastating loss. Each character carries their own trauma: Lone Waddy's cultural displacement, Laura's sexual assault, Grandma Sarah's lost family. Yet they forge connections despite or perhaps because of these wounds. Through these performances, the Outlaw Josey Wales becomes more than a revenge narrative. It evolves into a powerful statement on how broken individuals might form a new whole in the aftermath of America's most divisive conflict. The Outlaw Josey Wales experienced a fascinating critical journey unlike most films of its era. Upon its 1976 release, critical reception was decidedly mixed. The New York Times dismissed it as another fantasy about a Superman who can shoot faster and straighter than anyone else, while Variety praised its excitement and character, creating a critical divide that reflected broader tensions about Western narratives in post-Vietnam America. What what many critics missed initially was how the film subtly subverted Western conventions. While commercially successful with audiences who appreciated its action elements, the deeper themes of reconciliation and community building flew under the radar. This disconnect between popular and critical reception created an unusual scenario where a commercially successful film would require decades to receive its artistic due. The production itself was clouded by controversy. The firing of original director Philip Kaufman by Eastwood created significant industry backlash, even inspiring the Directors Guild of America to create the Eastwood Rule, prohibiting an actor from replacing a director. This behind-the-scenes drama initially overshadowed discussions of the film's artistic merits, with industry publications focusing more on the production conflict than the finished product. Over time, critical reappraisal transformed the film's reputation. By the 1990s, following Eastwood's success with Unforgiven, critics began revisiting his earlier westerns with fresh eyes. What once seemed like genre conventions now appeared as deliberate deconstructions. The film's moral ambiguity, once considered a weakness, was recognized as its greatest strength. In 2010, the Library of Congress validated this evolution by selecting the Outlaw Josey Wales for preservation in the National Film Registry as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The film contains fascinating details that reward repeated viewing. The character Ten Bears, portrayed by Will Sampson, speaks authentic Muskogee Creek language in his scenes, rather than the generic Indian-speak common in westerns of the era.
I have heard. You're the Grey Rider. You would not make peace with the Bluecoats. You may go in peace.
Many of the film's most memorable lines, including "dying ain't much of a living, boy," were improvised during filming. Eastwood incorporated numerous visual references to his earlier western.
Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
Creating a visual continuity that rewards attentive viewers. Perhaps most telling about the film's evolution is how audiences' understanding of its central character shifted. Initially viewed as another Eastwood tough guy role, Wales gradually came to be understood as a profoundly wounded character whose journey toward healing mirrors America's own post-Civil War trauma. This deeper reading transformed what might have been just another Western revenge tale into a nuanced examination of national reconciliation. The film's journey from commercial success to critical reappraisal demonstrates how artistic works sometimes require distance from their era to be fully appreciated. What seemed conventional in 1976 eventually revealed itself to be revolutionary. A Western brave enough to suggest that enemies might find common ground, that broken people could form new bonds, and that even the most dedicated outlaws might find their way back to community. The Outlaw Josey Wales has cast a long shadow over cinema that extends far beyond the Western genre. Its influence can be seen most directly in Eastwood's own Unforgiven, 1992, which further deconstructs Western myths, but from the perspective of an aging gunfighter. The DNA of Wales's reluctant hero journey is evident in modern Western revivals like the Coen brothers' True Grit remake, 2010, and Taylor Sheridan's Wind River, 2017, which similarly explore violence as the beginning rather than the end of their moral tales. The film's approach to portraying Native Americans marked a significant departure from Hollywood conventions. While not entirely free from stereotypes, Eastwood's decision to cast actual Native American actors and present their characters with agency and dignity was progressive for 1976. This approach influenced later filmmakers to move beyond the binary noble savage or violent warrior depictions common in earlier westerns. The relationship between Wales and Lone Waddy established a template for cross-cultural bonds built on mutual respect rather than condescension. Thematically, the film's exploration of reconciliation after civil conflict remains startlingly relevant in today's polarized America. Wales's journey from isolated vengeance to communal healing offers a powerful metaphor for national healing after division. His line, "Now we're gonna get you healed up, and then we'll have a nice place here," speaks to a fundamentally American hope that even after devastating conflict, rebuilding remains possible. The film's portrayal of government overreach and individual resistance continues to resonate across political spectrums. Conservatives appreciate Wales's self-reliance and skepticism of federal authority, while progressives connect with the film's anti-war sentiment and critique of militarized violence. This ideological flexibility has allowed the film to maintain cultural relevance despite shifting political landscapes. From a filmmaking perspective, Eastwood's economical directing style, characterized by minimal takes, natural lighting, and trust in audience intelligence, has influenced generations of directors. This less is more approach stands in stark contrast to modern blockbuster excesses, offering a masterclass in storytelling efficiency. First-time directors still study how Eastwood conveys complex emotional transitions through visual composition rather than expository dialogue. Perhaps the film's most enduring legacy lies in its rejection of simplistic moral frameworks. In an era of increasing partisan certainty, the Outlaw Josey Wales reminds us that America's most compelling stories exist in moral gray areas where enemies can become allies. Vengeance can give way to protection, and healing remains possible even after unimaginable loss. Wales's final choice to reject endless violence in favor of building a new community suggests that even the most traumatized among us might find their way back to human connection. As America continues to wrestle with divisions that sometimes feel as unbridgeable as those of the Civil War era, the story of a loner who gradually reconstructs the family he lost speaks to our deepest hopes for national reconciliation. In Josey Wales' journey from solitary rage to reluctant communion, we glimpse the possibility that our shared humanity might ultimately prove stronger than the ideologies that divide us. The Outlaw Josey Wales stands as more than just another Western. It's a testament to how cinema can transform our understanding of America's complex history. Through its unflinching portrayal of violence, nuanced character development, and ultimate message of reconciliation, this film continues to resonate nearly 5 decades after its release. As Josey Wales himself might say, sometimes you need to know when the fighting's over, but our exploration of groundbreaking cinema never ends. If you've enjoyed this journey through one of Eastwood's defining masterpieces, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the films that shaped our cultural landscape. From technical innovations to philosophical underpinnings, we'll continue unearthing the stories behind the stories that matter.